everyone, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 10 of Reputation Rebuild at Auxerre with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So, last day of the League season. We have absolutely got ourselves a playoff position as we speak. One game to go though. If we win it, we go into the playoffs. If we don't win it, anything could happen and we could drop out the playoffs. So it's all to play for on this final episode. All we have to do is win a game on an episode. Yeah, that's been good, hasn't it, recently? Anyway, let's get into today's episode and see how we get on. So welcome back to Auxerre. Last game of the season, as I say, one game left and we absolutely have it all to play for because today we play bottom of the table Chambley. So that's got to give us a good chance, really, of getting the result that we need and staying in the playoff positions. Let's look at the table. We sit in 5th place, the last of the playoff positions. There's 2 clubs below us that could overtake us if we lose and they either win or draw today. So there's a lot going on. We've got a potential of getting another place higher if the results go our way as well, so that would be good. But first off, the only thing that we have to do really is concentrate on our game and try and beat bottom of the table Chambley whilst at home. Now, recent episodes suggest that that might be slightly tricky. We haven't done particularly well on most of the recent episodes, but between times, since the last episode we were together for Le Mans, which was again a disappointing 1-0 defeat, we got a draw against US Orleans, which wasn't fantastic either, and it dropped us right the way out of the playoffs, but we clawed it back 3 games in a row, but that didn't look particularly fantastic doing it. You can see that all 1-goal margins to win the games, but winning nonetheless. And then the very last game that we played just before this episode, we played Cannes, and we got another loss again by 1-0. So it's all very, very tight. You can see all the way up here, there's only 1 goal in most of these games. So it's all very tight. Some of it's gone in our favour, some hasn't. But what it means is that our destiny is in our own hands. We have a one-off game. To win the game will keep us in the playoff positions. Anything other than that, and it's in the lap of the football manager gods. So let's get into the tactics and see how we're going to play today against Chambley, bottom of the table. So fortunately for a crunch match like this, we have actually got our entire squad available to us. We've been able to rotate around a little bit and keep everybody healthy as much as we can. You can see some of the match sharpness of those that haven't played quite as much, but some of our substitute bench has been rotated in and out occasionally in the last few weeks. But we are fully fit and have a full squad to pick for. There have been 1 or 2 changes in the style of play since you and I were together last. So the shape now is the diamond with 2 up top. But we have changed slightly. We're still playing the vertical tiki-taka, but we've now got a positive mentality rather than the balanced, trying to put ourselves on the front foot just a small amount and always look to be moving forward. So that's the first change. In possession, I don't think a lot has changed here. We've raised the tempo slightly to match up with the standard passing, just again to keep the game moving forward as much as we can and keep the ball moving as much as is possible. Slightly higher tempo, but not too high. So that's the change in this particular section. In transition, nothing has changed, and out of possession, nothing has changed. So it's just a couple of little tweaks leading up to the end of this season that we've made over the summer when I bring new players in, hopefully specifically in that midfield area, and maybe a decent striker who can score goals for us. Then we can tweak them again and try and play slightly differently maybe. But we're going to try and continue with the diamond and 2 up top and see if we can make it work long term for us. So all of that means for the crunch game today at home against bottom side Chambley, we do have a full strength 11. So the 11 is Michel in goal, Brigary and Suprayan in central defence. So 2 at right back, Botto at left back, Adiotti, Belogu, Ngando, Saki in central midfield with Lebihan and Yanis up top, and a bench of Wilson, Bernard, Ndom, Toure, Sylvestre, Dujimon and Yatara. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So passionately, I've said to the players in the team talk we could secure a playoff place here with a win. So I'm expecting you to deliver that accordingly. And it's all about being on the front foot today as much as is possible. Taking ownership of the game, pushing our style on the game, trying to create chances and hopefully putting at least one or two of them away and getting as much of a comfortable victory as we can. But this is an episode and I've pressed record and we all know what happens in those recently. So anything can happen today. So let's see how we get on. Chambley with the first opportunity down the left-hand side for a highlight. Defensive shape is solid and Situ gets a block on the ball and then wins the ball but loses out again. And the ball comes in for a header and it just goes over the top of the bar. I think Michel had most of that covered. Long sweeping free kick for us and it goes in the back of the net from Belogu from the Saki free kick. Sweeping ball to that far post and it's Belogu who gets above everybody else and heads the ball nicely into the back of the net. And after 17 minutes of the game, the goalkeeper came out and got stuck in no man's land a little bit. 17 minutes gone, we go 1-0 up. And that's kind of what we need. Saki with another free kick and another header, this time just over the top of the bar. Scrapes along the top of the netting. But we don't quite get a second on that occasion. Now, the counter from them has been a decent free kick in for them, but we've counter-attacked on them, and Yanis gets through on goal, and the goalkeeper, smidge of a touch on it, just claws it slightly wide of the goal. And it was a good counter-attack from their free kick. The corner comes in for us though, gets partially cleared. Labihan picks it up, sends it out wide again to Saki. Cross comes in for Yanis and gets the header all wrong and then loops well over the top of the bar. Good periods of play. We get a good defensive sound structure at the back and we were able to counter-attack from it. Yanis gets a couple of opportunities, doesn't quite take them, but we're looking reasonably good. We've had more shots at goal than them, which is fantastic because that's not been the case a lot recently in our games. So two with an easy headed clearance and Labihan goes straight over the top for Yanis and again he can't quite find the finish. This youngster is fantastic, but the one thing he hasn't quite got, as the ball goes over our net, one thing he hasn't quite got is the finishing skill. He's got the strength, a composure that's improving. He's got good off the ball, but he hasn't quite got the finishing. Great heading. We've got to find a way to get his heading more from our fullbacks crossing it in maybe. But again over the top to Yanis and again he gets a chance and again he misses it. 3 or 4 chances now for him. Could have had a hat-trick and he hasn't got any. And that could cause us a problem as we move forward into the second half if we're not very careful. But we have been fairly dominant, not quite so much on the possession of the ball, but in the shots. We've had 11 at goal, 5 on target to 6 and 1 for them, so that's pretty good. And we have played pretty well. We have created those chances. It's just about getting somebody on the end of it that can put it away. And today, for whatever reason, Yanis is having a poor one. I'm thinking about subbing him off at half-time maybe, but I think we'll give him 20-25 minutes in the second half to see if he can make amends for it. So far, passionately, we'll say I'm pleased with how things are going. Keep it going out there. And we go straight into the second half. And we do have to pay attention now to what Yanis is doing. Is he going to be able to take one chance and prove that we were right to keep him in? Or are we going to have to sub him out and get somebody in who can put one of our many, many chances away today that we've created? Although, let's see how we get on in the second half and see if we can create as many chances. Again, it's up to the target man, Labihan, drops it back into midfield and Gando. Belogu up to Saki, our creative player. Again, Labihan drops deep and helps out with the play. We keep the ball very nicely. There's the sweep out wide left. Botto, can he get the cross onto Yanis' head? He can't. It goes more central. Drops it deep again to get it out wide left. Come on with the cross. There's the cross and Labihan under it, but doesn't quite get hold of it. Belogu picks up the loose ball, keeps the attack going. Labihan at the near post, and I think the goalkeeper palms it over at point blank range then. And we get a corner kick from it. So it's Saki with the corner kick. Where's he going to place it? To the far post. And the header comes in again, but the goalkeeper shows great hand-eye coordination and plucks the ball out the air and holds on to the ball, importantly. and we stay at 1-0 up after 53 minutes, and it's Chambley that get a chance to build an attack, but we put the press on them a little bit and they create a bit of an error, and Saki picks it up straight over to Yanis early, drops it back into midfield, and the support arrives and we can settle the play down a little bit. Don't get too cocky on the ball though, don't dwell on it. And it goes out wide left again to Botto. Cross comes in, drops back to Saki, and it's just a smidge over the top. But that's good play. Dropping it back into the attacking midfielder is one of the ways that we can make the most out of the third member of our attack, as it were, from Saki arriving late. 69 minutes gone. And Yanis still having a very, very poor game. So at this point, he is going to come out, and Yatara goes back in to see if he can take one of our chances. Got a little bit of a problem at Situ at right back, not playing brilliantly. We don't have a direct replacement on the bench for him at this point, though. So I think I'm going to leave him there. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to bring Adiotti out and play Ndom in that holding midfield role. And then we are going to take the left fullback off and put Bernard on. So Botto out and Bernard goes in. See if he can get a couple of those crosses in from that wide left position that we seem to be using quite a little bit. And he hasn't quite found the quality on his crossing. What's happened now? Situ, of course, has now picked up a knock immediately, having made the subs. But I think he'll be able to get through to the end of the game. We've got 5 minutes to see out here. It's on a knife edge at 1-0. Situ on the ball, drops back to Ndom, and a nice ball into Ngando, straight through to Yatara. And was he offside? I'm not 100% sure about that. We'll have to see. He puts it in the back of the net very nicely. But was he onside? Let's see in the replay how that looks. So it's Situ with the ball, crosses it, drops it back into Ndom, who finds Ngando in plenty of space. Did he move too soon? I think he might have. We'll get one look at that again if it is, and they'll put the lines up for us and we'll have to wait and see. So here's the ball from Ngando. He's just onside by a smidge, right on the line. That last defender keeping him onside. So we go 2-0 up, and that will secure us a playoff place in Ligue 2. So this season isn't quite over yet. We've still got at least a couple of games to play in the playoffs, and we're having one final attempt at goal. Bernard to the far post, and Lebihan hits the post. God, just at the last, we were piling on the pressure there, and they've got a throw-in down the left-hand side for themselves, but I think it's too little too late, and the final whistle should go any second now, but we get Situ on the little bit of a niggle there to see if he get the ball. Didn't quite manage it, but we held them up and they've gone backwards, and there's a headed clearance from Situ. Time is ticking by, the seconds are going. Out again for a throw-in for Chambley, but surely the final whistle is going to go very, very soon. And we are in the playoffs, which is what we were looking for most of this season, really, to try and claw ourselves back up into the playoffs after some fairly ordinary form at times this season. But yeah, just in the last few couple of months, I think we've looked a little bit better since the change of tactic and formation. And there is the final whistle, and we go into the playoffs. So we still have a chance of getting promoted this season. I think it's still a season too early for us. I think next season, if we get the summer right, potentially we could have a real tilt at actually going for the title in this division next season. But that's for another day. We're in the playoffs, so of course we're going to make the most of it. So we go into the team talk, and we're just going to say passionately, I'm very pleased. Let's go with I'm very pleased with your performance. But before we go and find out whether we can see who our playoff opponents are for the next game, let's check out the analysis page and see where we won it in this particular match. So the summary page makes really good reading, doesn't it? 24 shots at goal to 11 for them, 11 on target, 5 for them. Even possessions, that's okay. It's not as much as I'd like. I like us to be in the 60-something at a minimum, really, with the vertical tiki-taka. But we are playing slightly longer than maybe we should. But the average ratings were good, 7.1 across the team. The team collectively did very, very well, but we were against the worst team in the division, so you kind of expect it, or hope for it, should I say. But there's no expectation really, having had the challenging time that we've had with inconsistent form over the last couple of months. So if we go into the first analysis page, you can see that we had a reasonable amount of possession in midfield, but they had slightly more. We did okay elsewhere though. We approached the play from quite a lot of different angles, but primarily through that centre position. You could see that the left was being used a lot, specifically from Botto, the left fullback, overlapping and trying to get those crosses in for a period of the game, but primarily through the middle, which is what we want to do, which is fantastic. Therefore, their play was a lot down the sides, but there's the scenario again for our heat map to show that we went through the middle, which is exactly what we want to be doing. So that's really encouraging. Let's go into the sort of more specific analysis and look at our off target shots. And there were quite a few today, weren't there? 10 off target. Some of them from outside the box, which is okay. You can kind of get those wrong. But these ones on the penalty spot and closer, I expect them to be going on target at least. And we did chuck it over the top quite a lot in that game. Specifically, Yanis in the first half was very, very over the top with his shooting, wasn't he, really? We hit the woodwork once, which was unfortunate. The goalkeeper saved 9, so he had a pretty good game. But again, as is the case with Football Manager, look at these 3. You shouldn't be really taking that shot on, should you, really, from that sort of area of the 6-yard box. So we're our own worst enemy a little bit for not dropping it more centrally. But there we go, that's the way it is. And then 2 block shots as well. So reasonable attempts, but a little bit more clinical finishing needs to happen. And that's one of the things that we need to figure out next season. I think the Bihan did a really good job today of dropping in and becoming the target man and putting it on for Yanis. But Yanis, for whatever reason today, just couldn't quite find the quality. Yatara came on and got a good goal, didn't he, in the second half? So that's good. Let's look at our intercepted passes. We forget about these ones because they're clearing mostly. It's these ones that we need to try and get a few less of. Today, not too bad. But maybe long term, if we get better passers in the very centre of our midfield, which currently we don't really have too much of, then we can shorten the actual distance of passing that we play a slightly quicker tiki-taka version of it, and maybe reduce some of these interceptions. So that's something for next season, hopefully. Out of play, I like that. That is not too bad. Again, we clear some of these, that's fine. But there's not too many in the sort of the second half, the second third, and the final third of our game. In terms of the consistency of passing was a bit better, so I like that. That is not too bad at all. And the key passes were pretty good. We've got the left hand side being worked, so Botto again down the left hand side, but it's Lebihan. Look, number 10 and number 10 over there. He dropped even further back to put one from here. I think he played very well along with Ngando from midfield. So not too bad at all today. A couple of key passes for you. So let's look down the list a little bit. Let's go and check out the movement. What does the movement show us? Dribbles. Where are we dribbling it? Again, it's down our full-back areas, and for our sort of attacking players in the sort of second to final third sort of cut-off point is where they're dribbling a little bit. So that's not too bad. I don't mind that. But we don't have dribbling a lot in terms of our instructions. So that's kind of what I'd expect. Offside, we got caught offside a little bit. Okay, that's fair enough. Not too bad. Set pieces. How are we doing on set pieces? It's something that we're always using, but I don't know whether we're always as consistent as we should be. Now, there was one, I think, from a free kick today with a header for Balogu, so that's decent. But here's the throw-ins. Going fairly short on the throw-ins just to keep possession, really. Maybe we should be chucking it in slightly further, though. Both Yanis and Lebihan are decent in the air, so maybe we should be doing that. Attacking free kicks. We went sideways a lot from here rather than getting in the box. But then there's a couple of shots at goal. Defensive free kicks. Okay, what do they show you, really? That we move the ball forward, that's fine. And finally, 3 corners, all into this sort of 6-yard area where potentially we should be doing slightly better with them, maybe. but ultimately not too bad. So overall, the performance was fairly decent today. We controlled a lot of the ball, even though we had a smidge under their possession. We did much more with it, created many more chances. We have to be more clinical, though. We could have won that game 4-5-6 if Yannis had got his proper scoring shooting boots on, but today he didn't quite manage it, and he had a 6.3 average rating. 8.5 for Lebihan, though, playing that target man role. Not too bad. I'm quite happy with that. So that's pretty much where we're going to end the match experience for today. We're going to come out and see that we've moved up a place as well. In the final day of the season, we finished in 4th position in the league. So Lens win the division, and Clermont go up as well as the 2nd place team. Guingamp, Auxerre and Nancy go into the playoffs, I guess with at least one that maybe from the division above. We'll go and check that out in a second. But we finished in 4th, and that's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with that in the end, considering it was inconsistent and we struggled to find a structure and a style of play that worked properly for us. I think we've begun to find one, but there's still a lot of work to be doing. So Chambley, Rodez and Paris FC that all get relegated from the division. Let's just go and see if we can see who else will be involved in the playoffs. So if we go into this one and then go up, we go into the Ligue 1. And the 3 that go down are Strasbourg, Amiens and Toulouse. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure how this is going to work then. Is it St Etienne that go into a playoff with us? Or do we play off against the relegated, potentially relegated sides? I don't really know. Let's go and see if we can find out in the competition rules. So we go into the competition and then into rules. And let's see. So promotion. Top 2 teams win promotion and qualification. Teams placed 3rd through 5th qualify for promotion playoff. Team in 18th position qualifies for League 2 national playoff. Okay, bottom 2 are relegated. So there we go. It still doesn't quite tell me which one of the sides above us go into this playoff or how it works. But let's go and check out the quarterfinals. I am determined to figure this out. So let's have a look. Playoff, quarterfinals. Number of 3. Oh, it's only 3. One team gets a bye. Oh, okay, I see. So if we go back a page, you can see that it's likely to be Guingamp that gets the bye. So we have an extra game to play. I understand now. I'm sure you were all screaming at the screen telling me what it was all about and you already knew. But I haven't played an awful lot outside of sort of the UK football over my time in Football Manager, really. So I'm still getting used to some of the European and further afield rules of their particular competitions. Anyway, that's it. We secure our playoff place. Quality of possession. Situ is injured only for a day or so, though, so that's not too bad. And let's finally, for this particular episode, we don't even need to go and find out what we've got next coming up. We know what it's going to be. We get Nancy in the first round of the playoffs to see if we can get up into Ligue 1. It's going to be challenging. I hope that if we can, I'll play the first round of that next episode, and the following episode we'll play another round if we get to it. That will be the plan. But let's see how we get on against Nancy in the first round. Till then, though, thank you for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button for me. Helps me get seen by lots of other people. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.